Hi, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter from Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation, Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast, part of the Fans First Sports Network. Great to have you with us tonight. It's Sunday evening. And earlier this evening, my phone just began to blow up as I sat down to dinner with people asking me about a report on Pro Football Talk and what I thought of it. So I stopped and read it. Now, in the interest of fair disclosure, let me just say this to you. I haven't, since I've been with the Raiders, and it was even several years before that, I've had dealings with Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk. Not many, few, but everyone I've had, his treatment of me and the way I felt like he treated the subject matter was integrous. So this is not any type of an attack on Mike. I think sometimes Pro Football Talk can take a slant negative, and I get that, and I understand it. I don't think that there are bad people. I'm not saying that, but I want to address it because I think I have addressed this really fair with you. So in a minute, I'm going to actually read the report, but I want to give you the analysis. You may remember we were summoned. I say summoned. That sounds kind of jerky, and I don't mean it that way, but we were invited to a press conference at the Intermountain Healthcare Facility to announce Jimmy Garoppolo as the Raiders' new starting quarterback. Now, you will remember, and you can go back and watch podcasts and read all my articles because I don't mind being held accountable. From day one, I told you that the Raiders were all in on Brady. They wanted Brady. But I also listed the other potential quarterbacks and said I didn't like the idea of hiring Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, great guy. He is a great guy. Great player, great in the locker room. He's a winner, competitive, all of that. My disillusionment with going and signing Jimmy Garoppolo was this is a guy that can't stay healthy, and the best ability is availability. So the Raiders go and they ended up hiring him. And I said at the time, I'm not the one paid millions of dollars to run this team. If they're confident in him, then they deserve that. They're in year two. They're risking their futures on Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, when we were sent home from the press conference, I immediately got on the phone and began to work the phones to try to figure out what's going on, what's happening. And what I was told was not that Jimmy failed his physical, but I think the difference between what I was told and the PFT report is really semantics. I was told that they had a structure for a contract, they wanted a physical, and then they were going to finalize the contract. And when Jimmy came in for his physical, I was told that there were some things that the Raiders, it didn't throw them off. They didn't say, nah, we don't want to do a deal with you. But they felt like some things in his recovery he needed to have cleaned up. Those are the words I was given. But I was told, expect a deal done real quick. And as a matter of fact, I tweeted and wrote that the deal's going to be done here pretty quick. And it was. Now, he went in March and had the procedure to get it cleaned up and fixed. I was not surprised he wasn't in training camp. At OTAs. I didn't expect him to be out there working at OTAs because I knew that he had just recently had a procedure to get it cleaned up. Now, they did change some things in his contract. So where the PFT report, I believe, called it dramatically changed, I think that's pretty fair, was a sizable signing bonus that now he's got to come in and pass a physical before the season starts, before he can practice. And when he does, then the first part of the contract, it goes from signing bonus to just being guaranteed. So that is a big change. I mean, it's getting the money now or having to wait till you pass a physical. So again, semantics, I don't really disagree with that part of the PFT report. I've talked to medical people when this all went down. I've talked to them a few times, not a lot, a few times since, and like, yeah, I fully expect them back. And this isn't Raiders medical people. These are people who work in the NFL and have track records in the NFL. They all said they expected him back to be back and ready to go in time for the season and in training camp. Now, here's my problem. And again, I said this in so many articles and I've written it and put it in podcasts. They rolled the dice on Jimmy Garoppolo. We just did an article a couple of weeks ago. You can go Google it. The biggest gamblers in Las Vegas are the Raiders. You go and you mortgage your future. You're Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels. And you go mortgage your future on a quarterback that's not proven to stay healthy. That's a huge risk. It's an unbelievable risk. Now, based on the people I'm talking to, fully expect Jimmy to pass his physical and be here. So I'm telling you right now, you are welcome to think whatever you want. I will never try to tell you what to think, but I'm telling you, based on the professional information I have and the people I'm talking to, everybody expects him back and ready to go. To me, the biggest risk is not whether or not he's going to be ready to go by training camp. The biggest risk is him getting injured again. I predicted the Raiders to win 9 games and told you I don't predict injuries. So I'm going to give him the benefit of a doubt that Jimmy plays all 17. If he does, I expect him to win 9 games. Now, other things tonight when I'm working the phones, NFL people told me that based on conversations they've had with people in the Raider organization, they don't think there's any doubt he's coming back. And I had one general manager I spoke to said, listen, if there was any doubts, they wouldn't have gone the route of Brian Hoyers as backup and Aiden O'Connell as the rookie. They would have done something dramatically different. So they all said that they don't see any reason he's not going to be back. You're welcome to panic if you want. I don't think you should. I think everything is pretty much as we told you. I think Jimmy will be healthy. But I have said numerous times, and hold me accountable, if he doesn't, Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels deserve all of the blame. And if he does, they deserve all the credit. They rolled the dice and they gambled. That's why they call it Vegas, baby. Now, I also think what added to the report was the odds makers coming out and saying that they expect today Tom Brady to be the best chance to be the starting quarterback. Now, I want to address this real quick. Do I think if Jimmy wasn't ready and for whatever reason, worst case scenario, Tom Brady would play? Yeah, I do think he would. I'm not reporting that. I'm giving you my opinion. He's a competitor. He's now an owner. He's now part of the team. Yeah, I would think he would if he thought he could offer something. But neither here nor there. The point is that the expectation is Jimmy will be healthy. People I'm talking to still think Jimmy will be healthy. And the biggest gamble is not whether or not he'll be playing when the season starts. It's going to be whether or not he can be playing and starting on the 8th game and the 17th game. That's going to be the biggest question at hand. Again, the Tom Brady news, I think, just threw some gas on it. So boiling it all down, I don't think anything's changed. I think it is what it is. The Raiders made a big gamble. They believe in Jimmy. Their people tell them. And in my opinion, my dad used to tell me, when you bet, look at the person who has the most to lose. And that's Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels. And if they have the most to lose and they're trusting their medical people, they're trusting the people that they know, I think you go with them. So again, I think PFT and I agree that the contract, you could say dramatically rewritten. It's the same thing, semantics. Failed a physical, or they saw some things they didn't like, so they wanted to write in some safeguards in the contract. Either way, however you want to write it, I don't refute the story in the least bit. It's not refutable based upon the information that I have. It's pretty accurate. But I think people's panic over it is a little too much. Again, the people I'm speaking to expect him to be back, ready to go. He's on track. That's what they believe, and that's what we're going to see. Again, we're never going to try to tell you on this podcast what to think. We're never going to try to tell you in our videos what to think. We give you the information, and it's your ability. Did the Raiders take a risk? You better believe they did, and I've written it a lot and said it a lot. But it's a risk that they're willing to put their careers on. Josh McDaniels knows if I fail as the Raiders coach, I'm not getting a third shot. Dave Ziegler knows this is my first shot, taking this risk. They know that. These guys aren't dumb. So if they're willing to take that risk, I'm willing to give them the benefit of a doubt. With the full caveat, they get all the credit if he's healthy for 17 and all the blame if he's not. Thanks, everybody, for taking time. I wish you a real blessed Memorial Day. To all of our families that made the ultimate sacrifice for our country, thank you. We appreciate you. We salute you. Freedom isn't free. It's built on the loss of life, the loss of limbs. And we just want you to know on this Memorial Day weekend, we're grateful and we appreciate you. Thank you, Raider Nation. It's a blessing to get to cover this team for you. So again, I'm Hondo Carpenter from Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation, Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast, a part of the Fans First Sports Network. Thanking you for joining us tonight. God bless you, everybody.